Okay, so I've been asked to do some more examples and change my audio mainly, so hopefully this is a bit better. I've turned some volume down. You might hear a bit of hissing and crackling, but that's generally on the basis that my microphone's really shitty. So what I've done is I've just put down some landing pads just randomly around Tanoa. I've not really done anything specific in terms of creating tasks. I'm just hoping to give you some better audio from the last two videos that I've uploaded. I'll put a video on shortly in terms of my key configurations and bindings that I use for my HOTAS, that I use for my wipeout as well as for the combat helicopters. Okay, so which one should we go to first? Let's work it around in a what should be, I suppose, a clockwise order. So we go to this one. Have I got a mini-map? Yes, excellent. Okay, here we go. So the next one's 1.2 kilometers. I just want to put some collision lights on there. Track IR working. Yep, okay, here we go, folks. So you asked me for better audio, but you don't know what you're asking for really, because you might be punished by listening to the sound of my voice. What we'll do is we'll follow the coast around for this one. I thought rather than just have it nice and sunny, we would invoke some nastier weather. So if you don't like the rain, tough. Okay, so flying in the HummingBird for this one. As you can see, I've not yet gone above 60% on the throttle. With most of my other videos that I've posted in the last few days, my advice has been that you take a good period to decelerate. And what you'll notice is, as you begin to decelerate into a landing zone, you'll begin to decrease altitude as you reduce your collective. And that's because you're transitioning from a flight model into a helicopter model. So essentially, as you slow down, the more you slow down, between about 50 to 80 knots, you need to increase the throttle a bit more. So as I come in now to the LZ, I'm about 1 kilometre out, so I'm going to reduce throttle now, and it's going to reduce my altitude. I'm going to raise the nose of the vehicle, and it's going to reduce my airspeed. So the combination between the both of reducing throttle to reduce altitude and bringing the nose up to reduce the airspeed allows me to approach in a nice, slow, steady manner. But as you notice now, my airspeed is now dipping below 70 knots, below 60 knots, and my rate of descent is beginning to increase. So I'm now beginning to increase my throttle, which is reducing my descent rate, and I've levelled off the nose, and so I'm maintaining forward momentum. Again, if I just reduce the collective, I'm going to start to reduce in altitude. If I increase my collective, I'm going to increase altitude. If I pitch my nose back, I'm going to reduce airspeed. Pitch the nose forward, I increase airspeed. And again, I've just not touched my throttle there, so what we're going to do is we're just going to come at this LZ from around this way, looking around, reducing throttle now, bringing my nose up to control speed, reducing my throttle to reduce altitude, just in this gap that I've got. I'm happy with this space I've got ahead of me, so I'm going to increase throttle. I just want to keep my airspeed low, so I'm going to keep my nose pitched ever so slightly high. Keep my eye on the LZ, and now I'm just going to do as a balancing act on the throttle now all the way down. As you see on my vertical speed indicator, I don't want it to be anything greater really than -1 or -2 when I'm touching down. So I just want to invoke a little bit of forward motion there now. I'll get into a ring state vortex and just encourage the vehicle down on that first helipad. Did lots of talking there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off again, and then we're going to spin it around, and we're going to come in now a bit more aggressively, as if it was in game. Okay. So we'll just use these trees, we'll go around these trees, and we'll do it now at a normal state without me talking through it quite as much. Just spinning it around. reducing my throttle now, so I'm reducing altitude. Ideally, when I'm coming into landings, and you'll see it, you know, progressively through this video, is actually I tend to come in quite shallow. I don't come in from high above all of my LZs. The shallower you make your approach, the easier it is to land on the spot you want. So about 30 meters and you should nail every single landing. You put yourself at about 150 meters above every LZ, and guess what, you're going to have issues all the way down. So yeah, a shallow approach into your LZ and you'll find it dead easy to nail your landings every time. So what we'll do is we'll fly around now to our next LZ, and we'll do one high approach landing and then we'll do a shallow approach landing, and then you tell me which one's easier. Just follow the coast around for this one. So again, you've probably just seen that I'm not actually being too aggressive with the throttle. Okay, I'm coming up to one now, just on this corner. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Currently at 38 meters. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this one is, if I give us more altitude than that, let's put us at 100 meters and try and come in. I've got to really bring that nose back. And, you know, the challenge now is keeping my eye on it, as well as not getting into a ring state vortex, spending a lot of time encouraging it down. It's just not pleasant. It's not as easy as it should be. Sure, my experience is kind of paying off here, but for for somebody who's new to using this flight model, you know, you're going to end up 9 out of 10 times crashing and burning. So let's fly out over this way. We've seen the LZ, and we're going to take a shallow approach this time, below 30 meters. And you'll have seen, if you've seen me flying on King of the Hill, very rare at all that I'm above 30 meters. So what we'll do is, I'm just going to reduce our altitude. And I'm reducing airspeed now as well. My key concern here, now that I know I'm below 30 meters, is actually reducing my airspeed, because I know that below 30 meters I've actually got the landing nailed. I'm comfortable. So essentially just using the throttle now to encourage the vehicle down, just levelling off, and just let the vehicle make its own way down to the LZ. Dead easy, no panic. I'm not coming in from above 100 meters, and I can just gradually reduce my throttle. -1 there, minus 100 feet per minute, and dead easy. Look at that. So I encourage everybody, try it two ways. One, a high approach, it's guaranteed certain death really, and then try a shallow approach, and you'll see that actually it's much easier. And with more practice you'll be able to do it every time, shallower and shallower, so you can, you know, do more Napier flying. I can see that the next LZ is over here. So what we'll do is we'll just do it straight away, nice shallow approach, and then once we get around the trees we'll spin the aircraft around. So you can just see now, if you look at my throttle control, I'm actually just balancing the throttles now. Pitch the nose up to reduce that airspeed, use my throttle now just to encourage the aircraft down to near the LZ. Oh, perfect, look at that nice shallow approach, beautiful. Okay, that's another one, brilliant. I think my next one's on the key side. Let's get some, yeah, on the key side there it is actually. Let's get myself down to 30 meters, or thereabouts. The more experienced you become, you can fuck about with the altitude a little bit more, but for now my advice is, you know, give yourself 30 meters and use, you know, about 50 to 60 knots as your approach speed, and then when you start to dip below 50, that's when you really need to start to balance your collective control a bit more to control your descent rate. My advice is always to keep some form of forward or sidewards motion. Okay. I don't know where my next LZ is, so let's have a look. Okay, it's over here somewhere. 1.4 kilometers away. What we'll do is we'll hop over this hill and try and get an early eye on that LZ. I'll just pick these at random, just kind of like, oh, can I fit a vehicle in there? Yes, great, right, stick a marker on it. What I've not actually done is practiced any of these approaches. This is the first time that I'm doing these approaches and these landings. Right, where am I? Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. So I've got no collective down at all right now. I'm just letting the aircraft do its own thing. I'm also now reducing airspeed. 60 odd knots, so I'm just bringing my throttle back up again. Getting my eye in. It's one of those dyslexia style landings here. Okay, so it's definitely a control of airspeed scenario. Okay, let's get that tail around. Increase throttle, we don't want to drop it too hard on the deck. Have we got it, nailed it? Yeah, I think we've got this one, haven't we? And then bring it around. That would be challenging in a Huron or a Ghost Hawk. You'd have to definitely watch your approach all the way in. But what we'll do is, if we've got time on this video, is have a look at that. Okay, so we came in shallow, and we've nailed that one, which is pretty good. Okay, I've got a marker somewhere nearby. Oh, there you go, in them trees. So what I want to do is swing it around. Again, we'll use 30 meters as our approach. You'll notice that the front of the nose was actually pointing down. The more you get used to flying the chopper in an aggressive state, and you get used to this throttle and control, you'll be able to get the nose much more aggressively pointed downwards while still maintaining a fairly decent eyeball on your approach. So here we go. This is definitely going to be a tricky one. Oh, I think I'm going to crash this one. Oh, no. I thought I was going to crash that one through the trees then. Luckily I'd killed the airspeed anyway, so it was just a matter of just maintaining throttle control. Yeah, I thought I was going to stick the tail rotor in the trees there. That's fortuitous more than anything there. I think there's a really big likelihood that I was going to nail that in the trees, so I'll consider that a lucky approach. One of the things about Arma is you can't land them all. Okay. Probably in the real world you wouldn't want to be sticking the chopper into some of these tighter places. You probably would see in some of these more dynamic videos that you see posted of Arma 3 gameplay, of people sticking a chopper right down in the middle of somebody's back garden. Is it possible in real life? Absolutely. Would you do it? No, you'd find somewhere safer. You'd be landing your troops at a safe distance where you're not going to put the crew or anybody else in danger. So I can't actually see what I'm actually coming into here. Okay. I'll follow the road on this one and then swing it around. There we go. So again, just maintaining airspeed once I'm seeing where I'm landing. Just maintain a low airspeed, around about 50 knots, and then just control that collective down to the ground. Where's my next LZ? Over here. And I think that does it for this video with this HummingBird. So Use your pitch to control your airspeed, nose down to go faster, nose up to go slower, collective up to gain altitude, collective down to lose altitude, and combinations with both, so nose up, collective down to reduce altitude and reduce airspeed, nose forward, collective up, airspeed, or if you pull the collective back, if you pull the nose back and raise the collective, you'll find that it forces the aircraft to do something completely different, which requires probably a little bit more skill than what you guys probably might be having right now if you're watching this video looking for landing techniques. But there's a skill where if you are flying forwards and you want to quickly decelerate, and what you can do is pull back on, let's say we use these trees as an example, I hope it goes well. You basically pull back aggressively, the main rotor can't handle it, there we go. Well, there you go. But the idea would be is you would use the energy in the rotors to push against the direction of travel. I think I kind of pushed my luck when I pulled that manoeuvre before. So there you go. Anyway, guys, any comments, stick them in the comment section below. Hit like if you like the video, and the next one will be we'll try and do this in a ghost walk. Okay, cheers, guys.